Hi Clubhouse kids. It's been requested that we do some cooking at Clubhouse, so today we're going to do it. But before we begin, I'm going to read a poem that inspired this alligator pie that we're going to make today. So the poem is called Alligator Pie. Alligator pie, if I don't get some, I think I'm going to die. Give away the green grass, give away the sky, but don't give away my alligator pie. Alligator stew, if I don't get some, I don't know what I'll do. Give away my furry hat, give away my shoe, but don't give away my alligator stew. Alligator soup, if I don't get some, I think I'm gonna droop. Give away my hockey stick, give away my hoop, don't give away my alligator soup. It's kind of a silly poem. Alright, so the first thing that I want you to do, you need to collect some items, and I'll also have the recipe attached to the email that this goes out on. But first things you're going to need a pie plate or pie tin. You're going to need a bowl. You're going to need a measuring cup. Maybe a whisk or a spoon to do some stirring. A fork. Alright, a cup. Some Cool Whip or whipping cream. I have whipping cream. That's what I had in my fridge. Graham crackers, just at least one packet. You're going to need pudding. You're going to need butter. You're going to need milk. All right, and I think that's it. So to begin with, we're going to make the graham cracker crust. So making the graham cracker crust, you are going to need to get, of course, graham crackers. So the recipe calls for, I'll hold it up here, 1.5 cups of graham crackers, or that is equal to 9 whole graham crackers, and we have to crush them. So there's a couple ways we can crush them. Let me grab a packet out. I like to do it this way. I like to take my rolling pin and I kind of like to smash it up real quick, but gently, so I don't smash the package open. Turn to the side. Oh, maybe I should back up a little bit more. Turn to the side. I'm going to pound on it. I'm going to keep turning it. I'm going to pound that down because I want those graham crackers nice and crushed. But I don't want to hit it so hard that it makes the package explode. Alright, that's nice and crushed. I might even like this. Smush them up a little bit more. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can always just do this as well. Alright, see, it starts to open. So make sure you do it over the pie tin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open it up and I'm going to dump the contents in there. Alright. Throw my mess away because I like to keep a neat kitchen when I cook. Alright, so it's not entirely crushed really flat, so I'm going to smush some more with my fork. But before I really start getting into that and smushing it down more, I'm going to grab the butter. And it calls for 7 tablespoons of melted butter. 7 tablespoons. I've got to grab the knife real quick. 7 tablespoons. So on the butter package, you can look at it and it counts it out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to get rid of a little 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to grab a butter knife and I'm going to cut that right off with the package. All right. If you need help, you can grab your parents for that part. So I don't need this part, so I'm going to stick it in my butter dish in a minute. So now this butter needs to be melted. So here's the one part where we actually do have to do like a little heating. So in the microwave, I'm going to put this, but I'm going to unwrap it first. I'm going to put it in the cup. And I think I'm going to set my timer for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to check it because I don't want to make an explosion in the microwave. So usually the butter will take 30 seconds to a minute depending on how soft your butter is. So I'm going to set this in my microwave. That's starting. While that's going, I'm going to continue crushing my graham crackers because I want them nice and crushed. I don't want any big chunky pieces like that. I want to crush that up smaller. So I'm taking my fork and I've got my finger on it and I'm pushing. I forgot to say, before you start cooking, you make sure you wash your hands. Yeah, if we have any germs, we don't want to spread it to our loved ones, especially since we're not really baking this. Once you bake something, a lot of the germs die, but it's always safest to wash your hands before you start cooking. All right, I heard the butter. It may be done. I'm going to check on it real quick. And it's not quite melted all the way, so I'm going to try to put it in for about 20 more seconds. I'm going to finish that. All right. My recipe also called for 1/4 cup packed brown sugar. So I need to grab out my 1/4 measuring cup on here. You see how it says 1/4. I need to go grab my brown sugar. Okay. So when I do brown sugar, it needs to be packed. When it packed means it just can't be in there loose. That's kind of loose. What I want to do is scoop as much as I can in, and then I'm going to press it down, and then whatever is over the top, I'm just going to scrape off. All right. Now I'm going to put that 1/4 of brown sugar. I'll hold that up again. 1/4 of packed brown sugar, and I'm going to put it in the pie crust. All right. I'm going to put this away because I don't like a messy kitchen. And now I'm going to combine it with my graham cracker crust and spread it around evenly. The butter should be done. All right. So I'm spreading that around nice and evenly. I'm going to crushing it down a little bit more. Remember, I don't want too big of chunks. I mean, it's going to be chunky, but we don't want it too chunky. And those big chunks we don't want. So I'm getting that all crushed down. I'm mixing in that sugar. I'm seeing Loki get into something. Loki, what are you into? Nobody. Puppies, they're always into something, aren't they? Now they're in the kitchen wanting me to drop something. So you're going to hear the click-clack of their feet. All right, so I've taken care. So let's review what we've done so far. We have done 1½ cups or 9 graham crackers, which is basically a package. We have gotten 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We have melted 7 tablespoons of butter. All right, and now I'm going to pour the butter into the graham cracker crust. I'm going to pour it around so it makes it easy. Now I'm going to mix it up real quick. I'm going to mix it up. Ooh. Put it up again. Be careful with it because it can kind of go everywhere. Just going to mix it. The dogs are loving if I drop stuff on the floor. All right. You want to make sure that all those bits of graham cracker get mixed in. So you can kind of tell that graham cracker is wet. So you want to make sure you don't have really any dry pieces. I might even switch to a spatula for this because after I get it all mixed in really well, I need to press the graham cracker into the pie crust as evenly as I can. That way it creates a nice crust. So it's nice and mixed in here, as you can see. All my dry stuff is now wet stuff. And now my job is going to be to I can either take my spatula and press it to the bottom. First, going to work on the bottom and make sure I'm going to fill in all the holes, right? And as I press to the bottom, and as you press to the bottom, you're going to notice that sometimes you get little holes, so you just had to continue kind of filling back in those holes, right? All right. And you can kind of press it up towards the side, just a little bit. I'm kind of using my finger again to give support to that spatula. All right. Here we go. And I've got to fill back in a little bit. Sometimes I'm getting little holes. So some parts of the graham cracker crust might be thicker on one side than the other. Just go ahead and continue pressing towards maybe the side that doesn't quite have as much. All right, so when I look at it, it kind of looks like that. Oops, some of it just fell. All right, you're gonna hear my dog. He likes to bark. All right, so I'm gonna set this aside and save it for later because now we're gonna make the filling. We're gonna make the alligator of the alligator pie. All right, simple to do. You're gonna grab a box of vanilla pudding, or I have lemon pudding, so it's up to you what flavor you want. But in order for the dye to turn colors, you need a light colored pudding. Or there is a green pistachio pudding out there that's fairly yummy that you might like. So I'm just gonna follow the directions on the box for the most part. It says 1 package of instant pudding. So I've got my instant pudding, I'm pouring it in, shake that loose. All right, I'm gonna throw this away. All right, so that very first step, all right, was 1 box of pudding. All right, next step is I need 2 cups of milk, just 2 cups of milk. And so I've got my milk here. I've got my liquid measuring cup. This is the way you measure liquid. It's the easiest way and most accurate way. So I'm gonna find where my 2 cup is. So I see on this one it says 1 cup, 2 cup. You might just have a 1 cup measuring cup. So it depends on what you have in your home, but you need 2 cups. So I'm gonna screw that milk. And just about, oh, that was perfect. I just ran out of milk. Put that over there. All right, now I'm gonna pour it in. And I'm going to pour that milk in. And I'm going to mix it in real quick for 2 minutes. So step 3, stir milk and pudding for 2 minutes. This is pretty easy to do. You want to make sure you get all those lumps out of it, so you got to stir fairly quickly, as you can. You can use a spoon. Whisks are a little bit easier to help get the clumps out. Even though you don't see any chunks and stuff, or you may, you want to keep stirring because that 2-minute stirring helps thicken the pudding up. And we want nice thick pudding. If it helps, you can set a timer. All right. So I'm stirring. I can watch the timer on the phone as I'm videotaping so I can see how many minutes I have stirred. Been about a minute. Keep going. Hands get tired, switch hands. No one said cooking is easy. Well, this is pretty easy. And you'll notice that that pudding, let me grab the phone here. That pudding is looking pretty good. You can see the consistency is starting to get stirred a little bit thicker. So I'm putting that back down. All right. All right, so we've got this pudding all done. Now What do you think the next step might be? How are we going to turn it into an alligator? Well, you're going to need some green food coloring. Ooh, that's nice and thick there. All right, so here we go. I'm going to find my green food coloring. And the recipe calls for a few drops. How much is a few? Yeah, it's more than a couple, right? So about 5 to 7 is usually what a few is. So I'm going to drop in 5 drops. Maybe, if I have any left. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, you may want your alligator to be darker or lighter, so it depends. You can just add a few, stir it in. I'll show you. Kind of looks like that as I stir it in. All right, see how much thicker my pudding has gotten since the beginning. All right, so I kind of like that color. It's fairly dark. It's kind of like a lime green. All right, the next step, so I got it nice and stirred in, right? I like that color. I'm happy with it. If you want it darker, just add more. All right, the next step is to do a large spoonful of Cool Whip. Well, I don't have Cool Whip, but I did find it in my fridge. And if you don't have this, you can skip this step. You don't have to have this in there, but it does make it a little bit creamier. So I'm gonna do like a large spoonful of, I'll show you, of Cool Whip or whipping cream. And I'm gonna stir that in really well. Now, you know, I'm a master baker. That's what I did previously. But I do like to have pudding, and I do like pie. So, I am going to say that looks about good. I'll hold it up to you. What do you guys think? Do I look all stirred in? Yep, that's about where you should be. So, you've stirred in your green food coloring, right? All right, now we are going to, did that one, we stirred in the Cool Whip. I forget I had these little cheat cards for you guys. Stirred in the Cool Whip, right? And now we're going to pour it into the pie crust. So I'm going to take this. All right, you know, nice clean kitchens are the best. Here we go. So now I'm going to take my pie crust right over here. All right, move that over to the side. And I'm going to take my spatula that I use to help make the crust. I'm kind of scrape the sides of my bowl before I even get started. And I'm going to pour it in, kind of move it around so you get a nice even amount of pudding. So it's not just all on one side, but it'll eventually just go. All right. Now, I have got some alligator pie. I can choose, I'm gonna kind of taper it out a little bit more and I'll show you guys what that looks like. It looks like that. Now, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator to cool for, you know, about an hour or whenever you are ready for dessert. But in general, I would leave it in the fridge for about an hour, just so the pudding sets really well. And when you cut it up, you're gonna have your parents help you. You can use butter knife to section it off. After you're done with, you cut a piece of pie, you know, pie shapes. Pie shapes are kind of like the face of an alligator. So since I don't have the time, I'm going to kind of mark where my alligator might be. So the easiest way to cut a pie is first to cut it in half, like so. Maybe I'll move this. Sorry, my finger's right in the way. Video camera. So I've kind of done a small little slice there in half. All right, half of a half is a fourth. So I should have how many pieces if I cut it again in half? That's right, I should have 4. So now I've lightly laid it out like that. All right, if I half my fourth, right, again, half my fourths, then I should have 8ths. So I've got that done. I've cut my pie into nice even pieces. All right, and you can do this after it chills. It will be easier, so that's what I would do. Oop. Try to get my camera not to fall. Kind of slipping. Okay, I'm putting you guys back over here. All right. This is fun. Okay, so now I'm going to take some chocolate chip cookies and, not chocolate chip cookies, sorry, chocolate chips. And this part is optional. You've already got the pie, but if you want to have a little fun with it, you can. I'm going to give the alligator some eyes. All right, so if I have 8 pieces of pie, alligators have 2 pies each. How many eyes do I have total? Got that for a minute. That's right, you should have 16 chocolate chips for eyes. So I'm going to do a little eyes on my alligator pie. Now, some people use like white chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, and they might give a tooth or two down where the alligator's mouth would be, but I don't have that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you what my alligator looks like now. All right, I've got alligator pie. I'm going to stick it in the fridge. I hope my husband and Grace love it, and I will see you guys next time we meet. Bye.